Good morning, students. I'm Raman Gupta from Government College Bara. I'm again here to teach you. In this video, I'll teach you about William Wordsworth, the poet of nature and of romanticism. So let's have a look on William Wordsworth's general features. Okay, he remained poet laureate of the United Kingdom. Yes, first of all, about his profile. He was born in 7th April 1770 at Cockermouth, Cumberland in England, and died on 23rd April 1850 at the age of 80 at Rydal, Westmoreland in England. The name of his spouse was Mary Hutchinson. Relatives: Christopher Wordsworth was his brother. Dorothy Wordsworth, very important name. Dorothy Wordsworth was his sister who helped and with whose collaboration he wrote his famous work, Lyrical Ballads. Dora Wordsworth was his daughter. So, Wordsworth's magnum opus is generally considered to be the Prelude, a semi autobiographical poem. The semi autobiographical poem written by Wordsworth is The Prelude, in which he has talked about the different stages of his development. That he revised and expanded a number of times. It was posthumously titled and published by his wife in the year of his death, before which it was generally known as the poem to Coleridge. Wordsworth was poet laureate from 1843 until his death from pleurisy on 23rd April 1850. The early life, the second of five children, he was the second of the five children born to John Wordsworth. The name of his father was John Wordsworth and mother's name was Anne Cookson. William Wordsworth was born on 7th April 1770 in what is now named Wordsworth House in Cockermouth, Cumberland, part of the scenic region in northwestern England known as the Lake District. That part is known as the Lake District. William's sister, the poet and diarist Dorothy Wordsworth, I have told you earlier that the name is very important, to whom he was close all his life, was born and the following year, and the two were baptized together. They were baptized, they were named together. They had three other siblings: Richard, the eldest, who became a lawyer; John, born after Dorothy, who went to sea and died in 1805 when the ship of the which he was the captain, the Earl of Abergavenny, was wrecked off the south coast of England; and Christopher, the youngest, who entered the church and rose to the master of Trinity College, Cambridge. Wordsworth was taught to read by his mother and attended first a tiny school of low quality in Cockermouth, then a school in Penrith for the children of upper class families, where he was taught by Anne Burkett, who insisted on instilling in her students traditions that included pursuing both scholarly and local activities, especially the festivals around Easter, May Day, and Shrove Tuesday. Wordsworth was taught both the Bible and the Spectator, but little else. It was at the school in Penrith that he met the Hutchinsons, including Mary, who later became his wife. So, now first publication and lyrical ballads, which is very important. The year 1793. The year 1793 saw the first publication of poems by Wordsworth in the collections An Evening Walk and Descriptive Sketches. In 1795 he received a legacy of pound 900 from Hresley Calvert and became able to pursue a career as a poet. It was also in 1795 that he met Samuel Taylor Coleridge in Somerset. The two poets quickly developed a close friendship. For 2 years, from 1795, William and his sister Dorothy lived at Racedown House in Dorset, a property of the Pinney family to the west of Pilsdon Pen. They walked in the area for about 2 hours every day, and the nearby hills consoled Dorothy as she pined, she pined for the fells of her native lakeland. In 1797, the pair moved to Alfoxden House, Somerset, just a few miles away from Coleridge's home in Nether Stowey. Together, Wordsworth and Coleridge, with insights from Dorothy, produced Lyrical Ballads 1798, which started Romanticism. This is very important. An important work in the English Romantic movement. The volume gave neither Wordsworth's nor Coleridge's name as author. One of Wordsworth's most famous poems, Tintern Abbey, was published in this collection, along with Coleridge's The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. The second edition, published in 1800, had only Wordsworth listed as the author and included a preface to the poems. It was augmented significantly in the next edition, published in 1802. In this preface, which some scholars consider a central work of Romantic literary theory, Wordsworth discusses what he sees as the elements of a new type of verse, one that is based on the ordinary language really used by men, while avoiding the poetic diction of much the 18th century verse. Wordsworth also gives his famous definition of poetry as the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. This definition is very important, students. Remember it. It can be asked anywhere in exams, and you can quote it in your answers while writing about Wordsworth. The definition of poetry given by William Wordsworth is the spontaneous overflow of powerful imaginations or powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. Poetry or the powerful feelings take their origin from the emotions recollected in tranquility, in solitude, in loneliness, and calls his own poems in the book experimental. A fourth and final edition of Lyrical Ballads was published in 1805. So, first it was published in 1798, then in 1800, after then in 1802, and the fourth one was published in 1805. So this sequence can be asked. So the other important thing is autobiographical work and poems in 2 volumes. Wordsworth had for years been making plans to write a long philosophical poem in 3 parts, which he intended to call The Recluse in 1798 to 99. He started an autobiographical poem which he referred to as the Poem to Coleridge, and which he planned would serve as an appendix to a larger work called The Recluse. In 1804, he began expanding this autobiographical work, having decided to make it a prologue rather than an appendix. He completed this work, now generally referred to as the first version of the Prelude, in 1805, but refused to publish such a personal work until he had completed the whole of The Recluse. The death of his brother John, also in 1805, affected him strongly and may have influenced his decisions about these works. Wordsworth's philosophical alliances, as articulated in the Prelude and in such shorter works as Lines Written a Few Miles Above Tintern Abbey, have been a source of critical debate. It was long supposed that Wordsworth relied chiefly on Coleridge for philosophical guidance, but more recently scholars have suggested that Wordsworth's ideas may have been formed years before he and Coleridge became friends in the mid 1790s. In 1810, Wordsworth and Coleridge were estranged over the latter's opium addiction. Coleridge was addicted of consuming opium. He was addicted, and in 1812 his son Thomas died at the age of 6, 6 months after the death of 3 years old Catherine. Both his children died. The following year, he received an appointment as distributor of stamps for Westmoreland, and the stipend of £400 a year made him financially secure, albeit at the cost of political independence. Coleridge used to consume opium because he was suffering with stomach. In 1813, he and his family, including Dorothy, moved to Rydal Mount, Ambleside, between Grasmere and Rydal Water, where he spent the rest of his life. So this was all about William Wordsworth. In the next video, we'll discuss the poem written by William Wordsworth. Thank you. Students, read it well, study it well, because William Wordsworth is very important, and the romantic movement in literature is also very important. So prepare it well. Thank you and have a nice day.